Okay, started recording, so I'll just share that with you later. So I'm about to share my screen now. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen, ma'am? Can you see my screen? She's not here again.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so this afternoon we'll start with how to sound more polite in English, how to speak English politely.
Yeah.
Yeah, English naturally is full of niceties and mouth, lot of formalities. And one of the ways they establish formality is through titles. Titles. So that's why when people address some people that have titles like Chief, this, Dr. Folashade, Chief Folashade, they make sure that the title is being said. Now, for some people that do not have title, we use words such as madam, sir. So we could say Sir Akintunde, Sir Patrick, Madam Folashade, Madam Annie, etc. So titles is one way we use in making sure that we speak English. Now, when we talk about the word ma'am or madam, I think I already mentioned that in our last class
Yeah.
that we
On
use
Monday.
madam or ma'am
Yes. Yes.
only for women. But when it comes to our mother, we use ma.
More.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the first thing is title. There are ways to use these titles. We use it sparingly. We do not overuse it. Whether
We use it all
we use,
sparingly.
yes, that is once in a while. We do not
Okay.
overuse it. We do not keep saying, yes, sir, okay, sir. Oh, yes, I'll be there, sir. No. Instead, in about every 10 sentences, you can use sir or ma'am, madam once. So we use it sparingly. It should not be
Okay.
overused. Another way that we speak to help us sound polite is to not direct our disagreement. Do not direct your disagreement.
Do not direct disagreement.
Yes, don't direct your disagreement. In English, there's something called passive voice and active voice.
Passive voice.
Passive voice. Is my voice low?
No. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't get the spelling. Okay.
Okay. It's on
Okay,
the
I've seen.
screen now, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
using it.
Direct your
Passive
design.
voice and
Okay, passive. Okay.
active
Passive
voice.
voice
Yes, ma'am.
and active action voice.
Active.
Okay, active you. Okay, what is this? Okay, active
Oh, sorry, I
voice.
wrote action. Sorry.
Yes, I've got
Active. I've
okay,
corrected.
okay,
Using of these voices would help you to either sound polite or sound like you're confronting them. So, for example, active voice is when the subject of the sentence directly perform the action. So, for example,
yeah,
she was the one who broke the glass. Let's assume something broke and you're asking who broke the glass. She was the one who broke the glass. That is active voice.
okay.
If I'm supposed to use a passive voice to say that, I'll say something like the glass was broken by her.
Okay.
So let's assume we're talking about something terrible, something that is not nice, something bad. And you're like, who did this? The other person started pointing fingers. Oh, she was the one who broke your
Your glass.
not intentional. That person would naturally feel bad. Now, when they are reporting the speech to you, and the person said she was the one who broke the glass, that other person will feel worse. So that feeling will increase. But if the other person have said that, oh, your favorite mug or your favorite cup was broken by her, the feeling, the effect of what happened to that person would not be so much. So when we are trying to sound polite, we are asked to use passive voice instead of active voice. When you use passive voice, it helps you to avoid pointing fingers. For example, let's assume, can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you, ma.
So, for example, let's assume you're making a speech and you're talking about the challenges that you face in your industry. Making statements like other fashion designers or other garment designers would usually make uh make things more expensive due to how much they charge. When those people you're talking about, when they hear Apologies, I am back.
Okay.
Was my networks. Let me quickly be sure I am still recording. Okay, then let me share my screen. Okay. So number one, I said use of titles. Number two, I said use of passive voice.
Yeah.
Number one, use of titles. Number two,
Passive. Huh?
passive voice. Yes. So making sure that you're not directing your disagreement to people. So use of passive voice. How do we use passive voice? It's simple. You do not mention the name of the
Of the
person
person.
at the beginning of your sentence. So instead of saying that the
She.
president made the organization not active, the president will take it as an offense. You could use passive voice. The reason why the organization is not as active as it used to be is due to the president. You're saying the same thing, but the effect it would have is quite different. And one sound polite. It's just like you trying to let the president know that you've done wrong, but you're still trying to maintain that politeness in your tone. The third way to sound polite is to use magic words.
Magic word.
Yes, ma'am. Use of magic words. We can
Okay.
use these words in many ways. For example, we can use it to disagree with something. We can use it to interrupt. One of
Okay.
one of the magic words we use in interrupting is excuse me, excuse me.
Mm.
Let's assume somebody is talking and you want to interrupt at that moment. It's not just okay for you to just say what you want to say. Oh, excuse me. I realized as you're just talking now that so. Excuse me. That is one way to interrupt. Another way you could use your magic word is when you're trying to show that you don't understand something. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Somebody is saying something to you and you want to let them know that you didn't understand what they're saying. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. So when you say it that way, that
I
person would
didn't.
not, I didn't quite catch that.
Words.
So when you say that, the person would not feel like they are the problem. They feel like you're the one that didn't hear, and it makes them feel good, which is okay. Or maybe
Yeah.
you are disagreeing, you're turning down an invitation. Instead of just saying, I won't be at the party, you could say, oh, thank you very much for your invite, but I am sorry, I will not be available at that time. Or you could even use the word, I will catch a rain check. In English, when we use the word, I will take a rain check.
I will check.
Rain check. Rain. A rain check. I will take a rain check. Let me write it out.
Okay.
Rain.
Rain check.
It means that I am not interested. It's an
Oh.
idiom. I'll take a rain check. Oh, are you interested in buying the ashebi? Oh, I'll take a rain check. It's a polite way of saying no. No, I will not buy, or no, I'm not interested. I'll
Okay.
take a rain check. Oh, I'm sorry, I won't be able to attend the party. I'll take a rain check. These are
Huh?
ways to sound I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to attend the party. I will take a rain check. Yes, these are examples of. Also, let's assume you want to just say, I disagree with your opinion. In your meetings, somebody is sharing an opinion or they are conversing on a new development. Instead of saying, I disagree with your opinion, you could start a sentence and say, I see what you mean, but I don't quite think this would work with our organization. If somebody
Okay.
has given something that
I
says,
see
oh,
what
this
you
works
mean.
in my old organization, or we had tried this before, and it works. But when you realize, you're like, this might not work here. So instead of just saying, this would not work here, or instead of
Okay.
just saying, I disagree, instead of just saying no, you could say, I see what you mean,
I
but
see what you mean.
yes, I see what you mean, but I do not believe this will work here.
Okay.
But I don't think this will work here. You could also say, I agree to a point. I agree to a point. But moving forward, I realized that the result might not be the same. So it is just about being creative. English is about being creative. There is no one way to saying all of these things. These are just templates. It means that you can edit them to suit you, or you could just have them around. Then when it is time to put your own right words, it depends on the situation. Another example is, instead of just telling somebody you are wrong, which sounds
Okay.
rude, instead of just directly telling somebody you are wrong, you could say, I think you might be mistaken. For example, let's assume you're having a conversation with a client and you want to point out something that you think would not work. Maybe they are giving you a particular design, and at a point you realize that, oh, adding that same design would not make the design come out well. So instead of telling the person, no, 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 that design will not come out well, you could say something like, I think, instead of no, 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 you use the word I think. The word I
I think.
think, the
I
word
think.
I agree, I see. These phrases help people to see you as polite, especially when you disagree with them. You don't want to come out straight to saying I disagree, but you want
Okay.
to find a way to express your disagreement without sounding rude to them.
Yeah.
And the last way we can sound polite in English is to avoid negative words. Avoid negative words or negative
Avoid,
statements.
avoid negative points.
Yes, or statements. So after you've validated a person's viewpoint, try not to use negative words. Instead, use positive words. Sometimes you can even ask them questions. For example, instead of saying, I think that is a bad idea, I can say that I don't think that's such a good idea. We're saying the same thing.
Okay. I don't think that is a
That
good
is
idea.
no. Normally, people will say, I think that is a bad idea. People will use the word bad. I think it's a
Okay.
bad idea for us to invite him,
Okay.
bad idea for us to nominate him to represent our club at the next maybe convention. Naturally,
Okay.
people will say that it's a bad idea. But because you want to sound polite, don't say bad idea. Rather, you could
Okay.
say,
I
I
think.
don't think, I don't.
I don't
I
think
don't think
idea
that
is good.
is such a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, let
I
me
don't
write it
think
out.
it's good.
Ma'am, are you joining with your phone or a laptop?
No, I'm even joining it in the paper, in a book. I have an exercise, I'm jotting something down.
Okay. No, I'm asking like the device you're using to join the meeting. Is it a laptop or a phone?
Okay, it's my phone, but I will
Okay.
get up tomorrow. Yes, by next week
Okay.
I'll get tablet. Yes.
Okay. So I think you should also get a headset. Maybe
Okay. o-
it could
Okay.
be earpiece, it could
I
be
have. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it would help with the sounding. It would help you
Mhm.
come out better.
Okay, ma.
So you don't
Okay.
have to strain your ears.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That would work. So this is what I was saying. Normally, people would say, I think it is a bad idea.
Mm.
Remember, we want to sound polite. So we don't want to use negative words. An example of a negative word is bad idea. Bad idea is a negative word. So we want to change that word, bad idea, to a
Okay.
positive word. So instead of saying, I think it is a bad idea, say
Okay.
that I don't
I don't
think
think that is
that's
so
such a good idea.
there.
Do you understand that part?
Yes.
Another is when you are making statements, ask questions instead. For example, as the president of an organization, during your meetings, it is normal to say, let's begin the meeting.
Yeah.
Let's begin the meeting. That is the normal thing people would say. People would say, let's begin the meeting. But because you want to
Mm.
sound polite,
Polite.
it is okay for you to say, shall we begin the meeting?
Okay. Shall we begin the meeting?
Yes, it sounds more polite. It also sounds formal. Shall we begin the meeting? That comes out more polite and more formal.
Yeah.
So, in summary, number one, use titles sparingly. Don't
We
overuse titles.
like you.
Yes, just use it
Really.
sparingly. It shouldn't be too much.
Yeah.
Also, use passive voice instead of active voice. Don't point fingers, especially when you're talking about things that are not nice. Don't directly point fingers. Instead of saying that, oh, I apologize. The secretary made us start the meeting late today. Instead of saying that, could I apologize that we started the meeting late today due to the secretary? So that way, it's not so obvious or it doesn't have that much bad effect because you have mentioned the person last instead of first. To use passive voice. Also
Okay.
use magic words. We
Okay.
have magic words like thank you, please, kindly, pardon me, sorry.
Okay.
Remember when we were young, there's this song we used to sing in school. There are five magic words. There are five magic words. There are five magic words that I know. Please excuse me. Sorry, thank you. And the last one, pardon me. So we use please when we're trying to sound polite, especially when we're making a request.
Yes.
For
Excuse me.
example, I would like to ask the treasurer to take the opening prayer, please. Please must be there. It sounds more polite.
Okay.
We have excuse me. We use excuse me when we're trying to state that you're not sure what the person has said, or you're trying to interrupt a conversation. So let's
Okay.
assume a point has been made and everybody's trying to put in their 2 cents. And somebody is talking. sometimes you need to quickly interrupt. We try as much as possible to avoid interruption, but sometimes you cannot do without interrupting, especially if you want to make a point, at that time. So if you must interrupt, then the magic word to use is excuse me. Excuse me, I'd like to call your attention to the last statement you made.
Yeah.
So now you want to disagree with the person. The first thing is
Vertical.
excuse me because you're interrupting them. So instead of now saying that last statement, I disagree with it because I feel it will not work with us. That is not nice. That is not polite. You don't tell people I disagree with something. That
Okay.
is avoid negative words. So you could say that the last statement you made, I agree up to a point. But then when you talked about us inviting maybe inviting other members, I feel like it's not a good idea. Instead of, I think it's a bad idea. Instead of, I disagree. You don't tell people to their face that you disagree. You use words like,
Okay.
I feel, that you make your statement. I feel it is not blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Or I think it will be better if we do it this way. You're disagreeing, quite all right, but you're not saying it to their face that I disagree. No, 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 no.
Okay.
Even as an authority, it's not nice to disagree with people and say it to their face. So back to the magic words. I have explained how to use please. I've explained how to use excuse me. Then we have thank you. Yes, thank you. As a president, for every time you are given opportunity to address an issue or to speak, it is okay to start with thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the opportunity. Thank you for the
To speak.
privilege, or even thanking the person who just spoke. For
Okay.
example, let's assume they just had the introductory session. And now, for example, I'm a member of Toastmaster, and in Toastmaster, for every meeting we do, there is a part, I think the third agenda is usually having the president make a speech to just
Yeah.
say something. So to have that, it is all right for you to say, oh, thank you everyone for making today's meeting possible, right? And you go straight into what you're speaking. Another time you could decide to say, thanks so graciously. There are different ways of saying thank you. Let's quickly talk about that. Different ways of saying thank you. So if you don't want to always say thank you, thank you, thank you, so you don't sound boring, there are different
Okay.
ways you could use the word thank you. You could say, thanks so graciously.
Thanks.
Number
So
one.
gracious.
Graciously,
Okay.
yes. Now that word graciously, you could change it to any beautiful word. Graciously means, excuse me, graciously means beautiful, adorable. So you could change that part of graciously to anything. I can decide to say, thanks so beautifully,
Okay.
thanks so kindly. I'm still saying the same thing as thanks so
Okay.
graciously.
Okay.
Another way you could say that is, I am most grateful, or I am grateful, or I am most grateful. That depends on you. For blah, 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 blah. So I am most grateful for the opportunity to speak today. I am grateful to everyone who made this meeting a possibility. I am grateful to all of you who came early so that we can start today's meeting on time. I am grateful to the last speaker because he had pointed out the blah 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 blah. Just it depends on who you're addressing your
I'm
thanks
so
to.
grateful.
Yes.
I'm
Another
so
way
grateful.
you could say thank you to someone is to say it was very kind or it was kind. You can decide to use very, you can decide to take it out. It was very kind of you to blah 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 blah. You can then complete it. It was very kind of you to organize such a competition for young people. Let's assume you were invited somewhere to talk to young people. So you're now referring to the organizer. It was very kind of you to organize such a competition for young people. This would help them to stay on their feet, appreciate education, and you can keep going. So it's another way of saying thank you for organizing this competition, right? So there are lots of ways you could do this. There are formal ways and there are informal ways. So I'm going to send you a working list so that you can have it in on your phone. And you can always reach out to it anytime. But for this session, let's focus on these three. Thanks so graciously, thanks so happily, thanks so beautifully, thanks so handsomely for making this meeting a success. I am grateful for being a part of this initiative, blah, 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 blah. It was very kind of you, to allow me to quickly add my 2 cents to this contribution. So let's assume everybody's giving the privilege to say something about something. Before you start yours, you could say, it was very kind of you to give me the opportunity to add my 2 cents to this project, to contribute to this project, to do this, to do that. It's the same thing as saying thank you. All of these statements would make you sound formal. It makes you sound formal. It also makes you sound polite. So back to the use of magic words. I hope I am not rushing. I hope it's not.
No, I'm with you, ma.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm with you.
So back to the use of magic words. We have talked about how to use please, how to use excuse me, and how to use thank you. So we have, sorry, yes, sorry. So we have sorry. So sorry, excuse me. So sorry can also be used when we are trying to tell people that I don't understand you. So for example, maybe you're on the phone and you can't hear what the person is saying, or you don't understand what they're saying.
To speak again.
Yes, you want them to say it again. Sorry, can you please say that again? Sorry, can you go over that again? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Sorry, I missed your point. It is all of these are telling the person that, oh, can you please say it again? So sorry, I missed your point.
Okay. So when
I'm
you want someone to repeat herself, I said when I need someone to repeat herself or itself.
Yes, when you want somebody to repeat themselves. So you could say, sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Let me write them out as well.
Okay.
So this is used to show you don't understand. I'm trying to show that you don't understand something. And you want them to repeat themselves.
So that you don't, it's not coming up.
Okay.
The screen is down. Okay. Okay, thank you. Show that you don't understand. Okay, I've written it already.
Okay. I want them to repeat themselves. So I'll use the word sorry. Sorry, I don't quite catch that. I could also say, sorry, I missed that point, or I missed that. Could also be sorry. Could you go over that again?
Why?
Could you
Catch
go
that.
over that again? So there are different ways of saying it. Let's work with this
Okay.
3.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yes,
That
I
points.
missed that point. I missed what you said.
Sorry, could you
Could you
go
go over
over
that
that?
again? So that is for sorry. So we've learned how to use please, excuse me, thank you, sorry. And the last one is pardon me. Pardon me. So
Pardon me.
pardon me can also be used for interrupting. When you're interrupting someone, you can say, pardon me, I really have to do this right now. Pardon me for interrupting. And you go ahead and say what you want to say. You could also use pardon me to apologize for something. When you're apologizing for something. Pardon me for coming late. I understand that my lateness isn't too good for this, but I apologize. So you're showing that you're sorry, you're apologizing for coming late. You could also
Okay.
use pardon to ask someone to say what they have said again. Pardon me. In fact, according to the dictionary, pardon me is used when you can't hear someone. Pardon me. The person have to say that again. What the person has said, it means the person needs to say it again. So you can have a better understanding of what the person is saying. So these are the 5 magic words. Any of these would help you sound polite. Now, while you're using these magic
Yes.
words, also avoid using them too much.
Okay.
Yes, when you overuse them, it could also reduce your confidence.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you're talking to one person and you had interrupted the person. So the magic word appropriate would have been pardon me or sorry. So you have said that. So as you move, maybe you now needed to say something else and you're not using another magic word. Maybe please, thank you, fine. But make sure that you do not use more than 2 magic words to address a person. When it becomes too much, it could mean that you don't have confidence in yourself. It could mean that you're scared of that person. So do not overuse your magic words for one person. Instead, if you're talking to one person, you could do a mixture of at the beginning addressing them with their title, then using a magic word somewhere in between, using your passive word, and trying to avoid negative words. You could do a mixture of all the 4 ways you could use in speaking politely instead of using 4 magic words. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Which
Yeah,
is
I'm getting.
okay, which is one thing that takes us back to mind mapping. Before you say anything, it is important to have an idea of what you want to say in your head. Don't just open your mouth and start to speak and think at the same time. People do that a lot. They speak and think at the same time. Try not to do that. Try not to speak and think at the same time. It affects your pace, it affects your speed. It also affects how what you're saying would come out. So, as the president of an organization or as an audience, you're somewhere, a lot of different people are talking, and you must talk. Remember, don't be scared to talk. Anywhere you are that you're supposed to talk, please talk. It's very important. Aside from the fact that it helps to improve your communication skills, it also gives these people a perception of who you are. When you keep quiet too much in meetings, people will feel like maybe you're not intelligent, you don't have what to say. That's the truth. So anywhere you are that you know that it is your right to talk, please talk. You don't have to be the first speaker. You don't have to be the second speaker. Talk when you're comfortable. Just make sure that you speak before the meeting ends or before the event ends. Can you still hear me, ma'am? It seems like you're glued on the screen. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Welcome. Okay.
You
I
can
will.
hear me now, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. So make sure that you speak when you attend events or places where you must speak. So that is the first thing. So because you already know that you must speak, well, as others are speaking, you want to mind map. Pick your pen. Always go with a notepad. You can write on your phone if you're comfortable with that.
Okay.
If you prefer to write in a book, it's fine. There's nothing like outdated. I hear people say that writing in a book is outdated. It's not outdated. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. And take notes of the things people have said. You don't have to write everything they have said. Just take note of, okay, this person said this other person said this person said this. Which of these opinions do I want to go with? Or which of them do I want to disagree with? When adding to conversation, it's either you agree with that conversation and you're trying to fine tune it to make it better, or you disagree with the conversation and you're trying to give a better opinion or a better suggestion. It's usually one of those things. It's either you agree with something or you don't agree with that thing. If you agree with it, you need to find a way to make it better, even if it's just one point, to make it better, to make it upgraded. If you disagree with something, then you must have a better opinion to share.
Okay.
So in a meeting, if you're not one of the first few people to talk, it means that you're going to be one of the last few people to talk. And to do that is quite simple. All you have to do is listen attentively to others. Take note of the points that you want to maybe agree with or disagree with. Take note of the point. You don't have to write it word for word the way that person has said it. So that when it is time for you to talk, you have already thought about it before you start speaking. So that gives you enough time to know how you want to present your case in a polite way. Maybe you want to start by using a title, or you want to use a passive voice, or you want to use magic words, or you just want to try to avoid negative words. It's that simple. But the thing is, if you don't start practicing now, it will be hard to talk about. So let's quickly do a short practice together. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so let's quickly do a short practice together. So let's talk about something that relates to all of us as a Nigerian. Let's talk about the cost of
Okay.
feeding. I'll talk about the cost of feeding.
I
And
should give a
then
something correct passive
what
one first. We should talk
I can
about what? We should talk about the cost of feeding Nigeria.
yes, I said that I want us to practice what we have talked about now. So
Okay.
I said
Okay.
that I will talk about the cost of feeding in Nigeria. Then
Okay.
after my own talk, I will then wait
Okay.
for you to
Okay.
add your own opinion to it.
Okay, ma. Okay,
Yes.
ma.
So while I am talking, I want you to practice mind mapping so that you can be able to present your opinion better. So each of us will speak for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, each of us will speak for 2 minutes. But
Okay.
remember, you are trying to capitalize on what I have said. So that's why you
Okay.
have to listen very well to me.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so this is 5:33. So I'm just going to speak for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's dawned on me that Nigeria is almost going down the drill. Because how do we narrate a society that cannot feed its people? When we look at the hierarchy of things as human, feeding, clothing, shelter, these are very important things that must be paid attention to, even before education. But it's so sad that in Nigeria, feeding is something that no one is paying attention to again. Growing up, I hardly go to the market to buy things, but I could still remember that there was a time where I've heard people talk about buying rice for 30 naira per cup. I don't even have an idea how much they sell a cup now. But of course, I have an idea how much they sell bag or paints. It's really pathetic. When, as a family of 3, you cannot eat comfortably with 2,000 naira. In my family, for example, every day we spend nothing less than 20,000 naira on food. And then it's just so difficult for me to see other people that cannot afford it. And when you say 20,000 naira feeding, you're still not comfortable with what you're buying. It's not like you're eating, overeating. It's just what a normal person should eat. So one of the things I would say if I have my way to reaching the president is, please, Mr. President, can you please drop every other thing you're doing right now and focus on feeding? Because it seems like we are now in a season where there is no food, when we still have farmers, when it's still raining, the weather is according to what it should be. So what then is the problem? I was talking to my husband early today, and he said he think it's transportation issue. Because when you meet with most farmers, you realize that they are not even the one having this bulk of money to. The farmers sell as cheap as possible, but by the time it gets to the market, then it becomes something else. Imagine buying vegetable of 1,000 naira, and after you have boiled it, it's taking out like vegetable of 200 naira. Food is really a problem in Nigeria, and I just wish the president would take a moment to address it. Not just address it, but painstakingly take action towards getting better experience. So what would you have to say, Madam Musawa?
Yeah. Good evening, my diction queen. It's just so recent, it's don't know me that Nigeria is no more what we can just sit down and be looking. Everything has turned upside down in Nigeria. Can you believe that the cup of rice that we normally buy for 50 naira is now about 1,500 naira? It's like there's no farmer in Nigeria anymore. The cost of living has gone up. Do you want to talk of the house rent? The two-bedroom flat that we do pay like 200,000 is now 1.2 million in my area at Ikotu. How many people can afford this? How I wish that our president should be able to look into this problem of Nigeria. Education has turned to another thing. Poor children cannot go to school, even though they want the government school that you register for 4 years course. Some at the end will spend 7 years because of the strike. When the government could not provide for the lecturers, the ASU strike is every year we have ASU strike nothing less than 3 months in a section. This time around, they make everything to be difficult for us. Do you want to talk about the fuel price? Just 2003 year, fuel was 165,000 naira. But here, if you don't have 900 naira, you cannot buy a liter of fuel. How I wish our government should please and look into the problem of Nigerian and find solution to it, where a poor man cannot even feed in herself, talk less of a family. Mm,
You have a few seconds to go.
ma,
I said you have few seconds to go.
okay.
Your time is counting.
I want please, Mr. President, I want you to do something about this, to work on the feeding of Nigeria and work on the agriculture. Let the farmer go back to farm, provide money for people for, provide money for farmer so that they can produce more farm products to make everything to be cheap in the market. All what we are buying before is everything in the market has increased nothing less than 200%. What the beans that we do buy for 2005 is now about 7,000 naira, 7,500 naira. I'm just here pleading that our government should please and do something on this before it will turn to another thing.
Done, ma'am. Done. Well done.
Can
This,
I
but
do one?
yes, pauses is also a great part of public speaking. Instead of doing it's fine to keep quiet for a few seconds. Though you kept quiet for quite a longer second, but it's fine since we're just going through all of this. Well done. Yeah, so I will talk about how you began talking. Now, because you are expatiating what someone else has said,
Mm,
I do not think the greeting is necessary again.
okay.
Instead, you're trying to continue from what I have said. You're trying to
Yes.
add your own contribution or your own opinion to what I have said. So instead of greeting, there are a few other things you could do. You could appreciate the last speaker and say
Okay.
something like, thank you, by mentioning of the person. Thank you, so for that. I agree with you when you say that. That's another way to agree. I agree with you when you say that the president really needs to take this seriously. That is another way to have said that. And the third way to have said that is to just go straight to your point. Because somebody just finished speaking and you're going to talk about that same thing. So you could just leave the greeting. If you were the first speaker, then the greeting might be necessary. But since you're not the first speaker, the greeting might not be necessary. Except you're in a place where there are protocols. And that's why you hear people say things like, I stand on existing protocols. Because you don't have to go through all of those greetings again, over and again. It will sound boring.
Okay.
And that's it about the introduction. Your body was okay, aside from the long pause. Your body was
Mm,
fine. You were able to share your own opinion, and the conclusion was okay as well. You were able to call Mr. President to order towards feeding. Even though you didn't focus on feeding alone, you also talked about the strikes, fuel station, petrol, cost of petrol, and others, which is fine. They still have to do with what we're talking about. So well done. So
thank you, ma'am.
using polite words, you used your title, which is fine. You also avoid negative words, which is okay. But you didn't use any magic word. I didn't hear
Are
you
you
use a
sleep?
magic word. Okay, please. Okay, but I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so like I said, you did a good one. That's okay.
Thank you,
Do you
ma'am.
have any question around this so that we can move to
Not really.
pronunciation?
Not
Okay.
really.
So let's move to pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay. So and
Pronunciation.
yes. So how to pronounce words. When it comes to pronunciation, there are a lot of things we must put into consideration. But the first is usually the sound of the language you're trying to improve your pronunciation on. So just like Yoruba classes, if you want to learn Yoruba as a beginner, they will first teach you the sound of Yoruba.
Yes,
Same
ma'am.
with English. We are usually meant to first learn the sounds of English. Even though our English teachers will not teach us the sounds, rather they will teach us the letters, which is why most of us struggle with English pronunciation. We must learn the sounds of English. And in English, there are 44 sounds.
Yeah.
There are 44 sounds in English.
Yeah.
And these 44 sounds are divided into consonant sounds
And vowel sounds.
and vowel sounds. Consonant
Vowel.
sounds, yes, vowel.
Vowel.
Yes, that's it, vowel sounds. So the consonant sounds are 24, while the vowel sounds
At
are
20.
20. Yes, yeah. Now, one of the reasons why you'll find it difficult to speak well, even when we have understood the sounds of English, is because the sounds of English are not phonetics in nature.
Mm.
The sounds of English are not phonetic in nature. What does that mean? In Yoruba, for example, once they tell you that letter A sounds A,
Letter
every
A
time
sound.
you see in Yoruba,
Yeah.
to tell you that a letter makes a sound, every time you see that letter, it would keep making that sound. But in English, it doesn't work like that. In English, for example, we can have a letter, one letter, making different sounds. We can have one letter making different sounds. For example, let's talk about letter A. Letter
Yes.
A in the word water, we can have letter A in the word parent. We can have letter A in the word about. We can have letter A in the word car. We can have it in cart. We can have it in cake. Let me stop here. All
What?
these words have letter A. But when you say them, you realize that the sound the letter A makes is different.
About.
In the first word, water, the letter A in water is making the O sound. It's making this sound. Oh, excuse me. It is making this sound. Oh, water,
Water.
water. This is the sound the letter
Water.
A, water, is making.
Water.
It's water. In the
Okay.
word parent, parent, the letter
Parent.
A there is making another sound. It's sounding air, pear. Parent.
Parents. Parents.
Yes. Pair. Together we say pair,
Parents.
parent.
Okay. Parents.
And the third
Parents.
word, about.
About.
The letter A in that word sounds
Mm.
out. This is how to write the sound. About.
Was.
In the word car, the letter A there sounds
Oh.
ah.
Oh.
Car. R is written like this. Ah. In the next word, CAT, the letter
Ah.
A there sounds a. Cat.
Ah.
Cat. Don't make it long. Cat.
Cat.
Yes. So letter
Cat.
A there sounds a. Cat.
Cat. Cat.
Cat. And in the last word, K,
Hey.
the letter A there
Hey.
sounds A.
Hey.
K. K.
Hey.
So the sound there is also different. A. K.
Hey.
So the letter A
Hey.
there sounds A. A. And that is written like this. Small letter E, capital letter I.
K. K.
K.
K.
So this shows us that we can have one letter, just like we have letter
Mm.
A,
Sound
and it
difference.
can make different sounds.
Mm.
In fact, letter A can make about 11 sounds.
Mm.
Same with letter B. Letter B can make different sounds. Letter C can make different sounds. Letter D can make different sounds. And
Mm.
so on like that. Let's look at another letter. The letter O-U-G-H. This is a common pronunciation error that people make. O-U-G-H. Words that have O-U-G-H. If you have the word R-O-U-G-H, it sounds rough, rough, rough. If you have the word C-O-U-G-H, it sounds cough. Rough is different from cough. They have the same
Mm.
spelling, but yet they make the same sound. They make different sounds, rather. They have the same spelling, but they make different sounds. Another is through.
Oh.
In the word through, the O-U-G-H sounds ooh.
Oh.
Through. We can also have the word thorough. Thorough. We can have the word lock. We can have the
Look.
word plow. All these words have O-U-G-H in their spelling, yet
Okay,
they are pronounced differently. Look at it. Rough. The O-U-G-H here sounds af, and f. Rough, af. I hope you can see my screen, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
In this word, cough, the O-U-G-H there sounds off, off. This is how to write the off sound. Off and off.
Okay. This we're talking about letter O.
Yes, this one is talking about the off sound, off, off.
Also.
In wrath, it's talking about wrath. Different sounds, but they have the same spelling, O-U-G-H,
Oh.
O-U-G-H.
Oh.
Same with through. The word through now. The OUGH sounds. It sounds ooh.
Oh.
Then the next word we have thorough. Thorough. The OUGH here sounds thorough. This is the sound. Thorough. Thorough. The next word we have the word lock. Orc.
Yeah. Oh.
The OUGH here sounds orc.
Oh.
Orc.
Okay.
Or and cook. And then the last word, plow. The
Plow.
OUGH here sounds ow. Ow. So what I'm trying to explain here is the statement that says the English letters are not phonetics in nature. That means the
Okay.
English letters do not always make the same sound.
Oh.
One letter can make different sounds.
Mm.
That is one of the reasons why we mispronounce a lot of words because we don't know. So normally, when some people see letter A, they just assume that letter A should always sound A,
Yeah.
but it's not always
I
like
thought
that.
as much.
Same with when they see other letters, just assume that it should make a particular sound. But in English, it doesn't work like that. One letter can make as many sounds as possible. So how do you then know these sounds? It's by learning what we call the IPA.
IPA.
Yes, I, P, and A. IPA. The IPA is a short
Okay.
form of International Phonetic Alphabet. The IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet.
Yes.
So these alphabets are the sounds. They are the 24 consonant sounds and the 20 vowel sounds. So for
Okay.
us to pronounce our words correctly, the first step is to understand all of these sounds, to be able to sound them correctly, to be able to know them in words. When you see a word, you should be able to know that this is the sound that we have in that word. And then be able to pronounce that word correctly. So that is the first step. That is the first thing we need to do. So to do that, we need to learn the IPA sound. So what is the IPA sound? I'll send that now.
Okay.
So I'm going to delete all of this
I
to
think you
make it
sent me a video.
of
It's a
this.
video you sent to me to learn the
Yes,
sound.
that talks about the IPA. Yes.
IPA. Yes.
Yes,
I
that
see.
is an introduction to the IPA.
Okay.
Yes. That is an introduction to the IPA. So now I want to get the IPA chart. Excuse me, ma'am. I want to quickly use the toilet. Can you please give
No
me
problem.
5 minutes? Thank you.
It's even 3 minutes to 6. You know, you said you
Okay.
want to relax for 1 hour before the.
Yes, I have a class for 7. And because we started late, I accept if you want to do something, but if you're available, we could just.
Okay, I'm available just to relax.
Okay,
Okay, no
ma'am. Let me
problem.
just quickly use the toilet. Then I
All
can
right.
introduce the IPA to you and learn 1 or 2 sounds to cover
Okay.
for my lateness.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Online lesson.
Yes.
Ìyẹn gan wà láti ìlú àti
Wọ́n ní ìwà ẹ̀kọ́ ló máa ṣe ní ẹ̀. Wọ́n máa gbé lọ. Lọ́pọ̀ máa dókè sí ni.
wọ́n á mú lọ náà mú sọ fún
Wọ́n
yín.
náà rà lànà ṣáàbì.
Ẹ lè
Mi ò
lọ
lè
sí
jẹ́
fúnra
kán
yín.
yọ, mi ò lè jẹ́ kán yọ. Ó máa rí
Kò sí mo ṣe ní yọ
bàbá nílò. Mo máa lo mọ́tò yẹn lọ́la.
ìdààmú. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bí lọ bí tá ti fẹ́ ṣe, wọn ò lè ṣe lára
Irọ́ no. Tí mi ò bá ti ní gbé lọ, but I want to use it tomorrow.
ẹ̀.
Mo fẹ́ lọ káwọn ẹrù kan lọ́la ní àwọn aṣọ tá a fẹ́ deliver lọ sí Kano. Ẹ̀sùn tí má ti ṣe yẹn tán.
Kò sí ìjọ ẹ̀ tó bá fẹ́ yọ, tó bá fẹ́ ṣe máa yọ náà. Ìjọba tó fẹ́ láwọn ò lè ṣe lára ẹ̀.
No, but kọ́ wá tí ìyọ̀ ń sìn. Tó bá di Monday, màá lè lo Corolla. Màá lo Corolla
Kò sí
náà.
kí ní screen yẹn ló ti bàjẹ́ ni pé wọ́n máa rà.
Àti ti Corolla yẹn.
Rọ o. Screen.
Corolla náà kó máa ra yẹn náà ní làwọn. Ó ti gbàgbé ó ti múná dé.
Kí ló fẹ́ rà?
24,000.
No, kí ní nìyẹn?
Screen.
Ìmáàjì ló ti jẹ́ screen board yẹn. Tí music lè tẹ̀ sọ yìí. Ṣébí rédíò lè sọ, rédíò lè sọ. Ṣé tó ṣe náà pánẹ́lì kìnìún náà?
Okay.
Ara gbogbo ẹ̀ máa yọ. Ètò àmì ẹ̀nà máa.
Office, my phone office. It's coming out there.
Wọ́n sọ fún tó di Monday. Ẹni kó wá Monday.
Ṣé bó wà mẹ́rin sí? Wọ́n lè yọ ọ̀rọ̀ mi ìdí máa
gbé. Lọ gẹ́gẹ́ mi sẹ́.
Tó bá di bẹ̀tí bí yẹn Corolla yẹn, mo fẹ́ kọ́ wọn ṣe.
Mo sọ pé ṣé kó wá Monday.
Mo kọ́ wá Monday fún mi. Change tire. Mo tẹ̀ ẹ́ lọ. Ó mú ní Lexus. Ẹ bá mi pé Kẹ́mi. Oúnjẹ fojú. Ẹ mo fi kẹ́rù. Owó tí mo lọ kó lọ́jà lé mi báyìí. I'll pay like 40,000 naira. It's for the kabu-kabu. Àbí o. Fún ẹ̀ lálẹ́ látara, wọ́n dẹ̀ máa tún ra fún ẹ̀ lálẹ́ yìí.
Wọ́n ti bá mọ̀ náà lọ.
Gba ọ̀nà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ló jẹ́ yìí. Kọ́ wá lọ ra fún ẹ̀mí. Ṣẹ́gbọ́n, nǹkan tí mo tún pè yín sí. Ó ní ẹ́rísítọ̀ tí mo fún yẹn. Mo ra màtíríà wá lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ́jọ́ kan. Green, ẹ bá mi bú ní mo kó sí náà. It's only purple I bought. It's not only purple I bought. I bought purple, I bought green. Kò ṣe tó fẹ́ palẹ̀ mo sọ tiny yẹn o. It's not only purple. Ṣé bí you have purple I hope? I bought purple, green. Orí fífẹ́ yẹn mo rí ń bí. Mo ní ká Ghana must go kan. Gbogbo àwọn aṣọ mo tún máa. Mo mọ̀ bóyá ojú òun náà ni o. This thing is wet o. Ẹ wo aṣọ green yẹn white. And you see it. What of the purple? Wow, and I bought another one. What of the red? I know we have red at home, but so I only bought purple and green. Okay, Mr. Lakan, just make one for me.
Okay, I'm back, ma'am.
Yeah, you're welcome back, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So here is the IPA. I want to make it bolder.
Okay.
This is called the IPA chart.
Just wait for me before you close.
It has
Immaculata. And the series. Okay.
okay, ma'am. So here is the IPA chart. It has all the 44 sounds in English. So let me just quickly introduce the chart to you and I would end the session. So when we meet next, we'll start learning about the chart. In fact, before we meet, you'll start learning with the video I will send to you.
Okay.
So on this chart, we have all the sounds of English, 44 of them. The part labeled yellow, the part with the yellow background, they are the consonant sounds.
Okay.
And one good thing about the consonant sounds is they are easy to learn. However, you must pay attention to how you use your speech organs.
Yep.
Our speech organs are the parts of the body that we use when we speak. So for example, there are some sounds that you need to use your lips, your jaw, and your teeth to pronounce them. There are some sounds that you need your tongue, you need your jaw, and your teeth. So you must be able to identify these sounds so that when you want to pronounce them, you can use the correct speech organs.
Okay.
It is when you use the correct speech organs that the sound will come out correctly. So there are 24 consonants. Now, out of these 24 consonants, we have, out of the 24 consonant sounds, we have 15 of them that are called voiced sounds, while the remaining nine are called voiceless sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we identify the voiced sounds and the voiceless sounds? When we make consonant sounds, our throat sometimes vibrates and sometimes it does not vibrate. So when you make a consonant sound and your throat vibrates, then we would say that that sound is a voiced sound. But when you make a sound and your throat does not vibrate, then we say the sound is a voiceless sound. So the difference between a voiced sound and a voiceless sound is the vibration. If there is vibration, the sound is voiced. If there is no vibration, the sound is voiceless. So that is it about the consonant sound.
Okay.
Now let's go to the vowel sounds. The vowel sounds are 20. And these vowel sounds, when articulating them, some of them, we need to open our mouth wide.
Okay.
Some of them, we need to open our mouth a bit. It should not be wide. Why? For some of them, we don't need to open our mouth at all. So we say that the vowel sounds, the ones that we are opening our mouth wide, we call it the open vowel sound. Open vowel sound. The ones that we just need to open our mouth a bit, we call it the mid-vowel sound. Mid-vowel sound. And the one that we need to close our mouth, we call it the closed vowel sound. So it means that when you're speaking, it's not every time that your mouth must be wide open. Sometimes you just need to open it a bit. Sometimes you need to open it well. And sometimes you don't need to open it at all. Aside from that, The vowel sounds is a combination of the monophthongs and the diphthongs. The monophthongs, these are the monophthongs. It starts from here, down here, down here, down here. Monophthongs. There are 12 of them. They have the ash background, monophthongs. Then we have the diphthongs. These are the diphthongs. The diphthongs come in twos. They come in two. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So these right here have the diphthongs. The diphthongs are 8. So there are 8 diphthongs. And there are 12 monophthongs.
Diphthongs. 12 monophthongs.
Yes, ma'am. So when pronouncing the diphthongs, you're expected to slow down and go slowly from the first sound to the second sound. Remember, the diphthongs come in 2.
Excuse me, ma.
Ma'am.
Please come again.
When pronouncing the diphthongs,
okay, ma,
you're expected to slow down.
Okay.
And that is because the diphthongs come in 2, like this 1, 2, 2 symbols. So when I want to say this sound, I have to say the first symbol, and I will slowly go through it until I get to the second symbol, like this: air, air, not air, air, air. Yes. So when we have the diphthongs, we slow down to articulate them. We say that we glide. When we have the monophthongs, sometimes we say them short and sometimes we say them long. So how do we know when to say them short and when to say them long? If a monophthong has 2 dots, look at this sound here. The symbol comes with 2 dots. There are 2 dots beside it. These 2 dots tells us that when we want to say these sounds, we should say it long. Now look at another symbol. This one does not have 2 dots. So because this one does not have 2 dots, it tells us that when we want to say that sound, we should say it short.
Okay.
So it means that it is either we say a vowel long, or we say it short, or we glide the vowel. We can either make a vowel long, we can make it short, or we can make it glide. The ability to make a vowel glide, or the ability to make a vowel short or long, is what would help us to be able to speak the language properly. It will give it that rhythm that it deserves. So when we meet on Monday, we'll take each sound one after the other. We'll explore words that have the sounds, and then we'll take short sentences to help us practice the points.
Okay.
So do you have questions?
No, ma. But I would need some videos that you said you'll be sending to me.
Yes, I'll send you a video.
Okay.
To help you to get familiar with the sounds.
Okay, ma.
Yes.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome, ma'am. Yeah. So, ma'am, have a great evening and enjoy your weekend.
And you too.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
You're welcome. Bye, ma'am.